That's a pretty good question, isn't it?
Oh, what a question.
I guess just kind of like if you have a penis.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, I know that this is not well, I think that being a man really relies exclusively on phenotypic and genetic traits. So by that I mean a X and a Y chromosome, and then the descended testicles and the phallus. And that's how I'm going to define what it means to be a man.
Like, I guess you know what I mean, like, just like, I would say, like, really just the gender, like, defines you. Like, you can, like, totally, like, if you're a woman and, like, you, like, really want to be a man, like, I don't know, I think you can, like, try and be viewed as a man, but I think, like, it's just kind of like this, like, it's like you have testosterone and you're a man, so, like, it's totally, like, you can't, like, totally be, like, a man just because, like, you want to, it's, like, naturally you want to go on that way.
I don't know. I feel as though my understandings of such things were confused as a child because my mother would constantly tell me that it was okay if I wanted to be a woman. And she never, and, you know, my family never really, like, pushed a lot of, like, the stereotypical ideas. So I guess that, like, of, like, sports or, like, you know, everything that we, like, very superficially, like, associate with, like, boys and manliness. I would say that I probably associate those things myself, but I wouldn't say that they're part of my own masculinity.
I think there's like just two overall just like defining factors for being a man. There's like the like physical way how everyone's gonna see you, that like you can either have like a penis or like even just like in your face or like body mass and like how tall you are and stuff like that. And then there's just the individual, like some people like fucked up shit happens to them, or not even, they just have been identified by other people as the wrong one, and so they may feel that they're the other one.
Well, in general, I think to be a man, or like the general popular understanding is to be tough and strong and to fight, be protective.
I mean, there's definitely the kind of norm of it having to do in some way with like physical fitness in some way. I mean, there's a bit of that in there.
But I think to be a man is to just know. There's no way to really synthesize it, but it's somewhat just to some extent just fitting the gender stereotype prescribed to you by society in which you live. I would view manhood, true manhood, as like being able to cry about your problems, being able to deal with shit head on. I'm kind of co-opting the traditional masculine ideal with my own version. And the traditional masculine ideal of like being able to fight and be violent and angry and all that shit, which is all not so well and good for most of society. But so those are characteristics of traditional manhood and of manhood as I view it.
Responsibility in some way for your actions, I guess.
I think to me it just means being a good person, or like being, I don't know, setting a good standard.
People and not just being backstabbing, awful. Maybe I'm just associating masculinity with generally and being maybe good. Well, wait, what is the masculine? Are we talking about like Or we're talking about like, does masculinity equal, what is it to be a good person? Because I'm kind of equating that to that.
I think to me at least, being a good person is more important than being a man.
Like, it shouldn't really try and, I don't really think it can be defined. I mean, it's defined by every single person with a pair of testicles.
I shudder to say that there's a cohesive opinion about what being a man means on Marlboro campus. That's not true. So some of the opinions of what masculinity or being a man is are completely coherent with some that you'll be able to pluck out of, say, Saudi Arabia. And others are not. Others are very uniquely sculpted.
Like the standards of self-regulating masculinity are a lot less intense. There's not as much policing of boundaries. People aren't to a greater extent than my experience in general society. It's not like calling each other bitch or faggot or any of those hyper-masculine put-downs that are meant to feminize other men.
I think it's more open to interpretation here. I mean, I definitely feel like there's some people that are like trying to be manly men, or like that's what, but it's not expected, at least in my opinion. I don't feel pressured to sort of be a manly man here, or like I don't feel like I don't fit in because of it, or I don't fit in because I don't go to the gym.
It's again better here, but it's still, I feel like there are a lot of people who give the community too much credit for being better than everywhere else, as like we as men are able to talk to each other a lot better than in other masculine communities, but some people give themselves too much credit and don't really move on from there to like talking with a broader scope of men or women. It's generally just within small friend groups.
There's definitely a lot of the kind of knife-toting buff guys that are like, there's a lot of those people who are like, I'm masculine because I run around in the woods and like eat steak. There's a lot of people who are still consider themselves masculine, who are like, I eat rabbit food, it's delicious, and I don't know.
Maybe. I went to school at Binghamton last year, and I guess sort of the masculine dynamic leaned more towards frat boy, and the Marlboro is too small for there to really exist much of a model of masculinity.
I think there's less like, I think other places masculinity is kind of associated with like popped collars and like the polo shirts and like being kind of awful people. I don't know. Maybe I'm making generalizations. I think there's a little less of that. It's a little disguised.
It's probably much different than like a frat boy.
I think in America in general, men and women alike have opportunities for the most part to be whatever they want, depending on how like they're brought up and stuff. But especially at a place like Marlboro, where you need like a lot of money to go here, men and women are defined in basic ways. But I think overall, the role doesn't change. Anyone can do what they want.
I mean, I feel like media tends to portray like rugged manly men. But I mean, they do that with every other role too. You know, like that's what they do. They create characters, which tends to create stereotypes. You know.
it's really overly sexualizing things, and we're being told like that this is that we want this and this is right and this is good. They're being put to this image that I guess objectifies everyone.
I mean, I think there's sort of like the hard-bodied action hero is almost the standard of masculinity.
I think that just like in the media, they like want the ends of the spectrum for each, like the extremes for men and women, because that's how they can like sell stuff to us and like control you. They have the two like ideals, and it just follows that. It's been like that.
I think you definitely have to like go out of your way to find alternative portrayals of things. The media was more influential on me as a man when I was younger, and before I was able to really like, step back and look at myself in comparison to everything. It was more when I was younger, it was like, this is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be violent and not expressive and that. And then I got to a certain age, it's like, alright, wait, I don't really like that.
Marlboro definitely enforces like a critical view, so it's hard to just like buy into a mass media thing. You're constantly like assessing yourself and other people.
So even though I don't like follow the media, like I love like violent movies and like stuff like that. There are things to put in like football and like things that are supposed to be like manly violent. Like I just like it anyway. Like regardless, I mean maybe it's the media just controlling like my whole life. But like even though I feel that separated from it, I still all the time like that stuff. But like I like other things too.
Yeah, I actually actively seek out to consume. I'm not really one for the action movies too much. Like, I try to stay away from really intense testosterone land.
Can I go back to the first question before I answer that one?
Sure.
Because you're saying being a man, which again, I'm thinking of merely as sex, but if we're talking about being a man as gender, in the gender division of that, I have a very different picture. That's simply a performance.
Okay.
Which the one chooses to indulge in. I guess the way I think of the presentation of masculinity is the act of subjugating other people to your will. That's where I'm going to go with that, which means that I think that many women, my mother for instance, are extremely masculine. But and that I'm drawing that, I think, from media presentations where it is the act of putting another person under your will. That is the masculine act. I sometimes suspect that one of the terrifying things that I get to do because I'm gay is I, in a very graphic and sexualized way, can subjugate men to my will just with a glance, the way that they're more used to, they're not used to being put in that position. So one of the more self-aggrandizing thoughts that I occasionally have is that, when it comes to the masculine performance, I'm super masculine because I subjugate the subjugators. So, there.